And welcome. My guest today is Mart-Mari, and she has such an interesting story to bring us, not just about the process of having the inspiration and creating a book and self-publishing it, but she is in South Africa. So I am so curious to hear about what the differences are in that experience of self-publishing in America versus South Africa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Carolyn. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start by talking about what your book is about.
Okay, so firstly, I should maybe say there's already a second book. So
Oh,
it's now two books. But let's start with the first book because that was the challenging one, right? It was oh, figuring out a lot of things with that one
now
to
you
make
know
this
how it works.
yeah to make the second one a little bit easier. But yeah, no. So my first book is about I lost 80 kilograms. Oh my goodness, I should have looked up
Yeah,
again
how
what
much is
that
it in
is in
pounds?
pounds. It's
What?
something like 276 pounds or something. So
Oh, that
so
is a lot. Wow.
yeah, so yeah, I should have looked it up, the conversion. But
That's
yeah,
a
I
lot.
lost 80 kilograms. So I yeah, so I when I got to the end of my weight loss journey, I didn't know how to maintain such a massive weight loss.
Mm.
Most people's idea is that once a fatty, always a fatty. So you doomed to pick it up again. So I yeah.
Yeah, or your fear is, oh, or you're overly optimistic and you think, oh, I just have to get back to this weight and then I'll be good. Like it's
Yes.
not going to creep back on without.
Yeah, but yeah, with my history, I've got a history of yo-yo dieting, so
Mhm.
so I was quite scared to pick up this weight again. So I basically lived in fear of regaining this weight, and at the end of not the end because it's never the end. You never arrive, but yeah. So I eventually went for therapy, and that took me on a whole emotional journey on why am I so obsessed with my weight? And what are the reasons that I keep on reverting back to my old habits? And what are the roots of my emotional eating problems?
Mm.
So, oh, when I finally had like an aha moment, I decided that I want to do a video about it. I did a video on emotional eating. And at that stage, shortly after that video, I've been publishing a little bit of blog posts here and there. And someone contacted me and suggested that I should maybe consider writing a book. Um, so that planted the seed. And then this started this whole process. 2021 was this whole process of putting the book together, sharing my story, and explaining what it took to lose the emotional weight. So
Mm.
the book is not about losing weight, it is about losing the emotional weight and dealing with the emotional problems. And there's a lot about my therapy journey in that as well. So I pitched the book to a publisher and they refused it. And then I was like, oh, well, then I'm just going to publish it myself. So, so that's, yeah. And so I then decided to publish it myself, which was a mission as well. So, yeah. And
What do
then
you think was the biggest surprise when you went to publish it yourself? What was the biggest thing that you were like, oh, I didn't think I was going to have to do that?
I think maybe not a surprise because I sort of knew that I would have to figure it out, but how difficult the marketing is. That um, the publishing sort of, hmm, I won't say it sort of just happened. I mean, there was a lot of things I had to figure out, but that's all. I'm a software engineer, okay? So
Mm.
I'm used to computers and I'm used to figuring out what to do to get the things to do the right things. So,
Yeah,
um,
the
so the
publishing is kind of
technical,
like it's a process, and
mm,
it's like you do this thing and then you get this result. You do this thing and then you get this result. And marketing
yes,
is so much more nebulous.
yes, exactly. So marketing software is um, hard. It's got rules and it's got, structure and things. And if you do it the right way, you will get the right result in the end. But marketing is soft. You've got to pull in people, get their attention, keep that attention. And yeah, and that was challenging because you've got no publisher to back you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's none of that. And the other day I had a conversation with a friend, and she's like, "Do I think it would have been beneficial for me to have had a publisher?" And definitely, I think it would have been to my advantage to have a publisher. But I think I'm at the same place now. I mean, what is it? 2 years in now, than what a published author would have been. I think I'm actually at a better place maybe because I needed to figure out marketing out for myself, get an audience, continuously keep on working. And I'm still selling books, where I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe other authors might struggle 2 years after their release.
Yeah. What do you think
Yeah.
has been the most successful thing that you've done for book marketing?
Sharing, sharing reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment, nobody wants to sit in an empty coffee shop, right? You know, no. So the moment I see other people sitting there, you're more inclined to go and also pay that coffee shop a visit. So when I share what other people think about my books, I'm telling people they're not the only ones that's going to want to visit this coffee shop. So the sharing of reviews has been my biggest tool in this marketing thing. So
That's a great one. Yes, I love that. And
yeah.
now you got the second book, and you
Yes.
decided to also self-publish that one. So it sounds like you were pretty happy with the experience that you wanted to do it the same
Uh,
way again.
I would have loved to have had a publisher. I mean, if someone came up to me and said they offered to help me publish it, would have been great. And I think I would have still approached the marketing in the same fashion that I did for the first one. Um, but I think I learned a lot with the second one, and with the first one. I'm approaching the second one in the same fashion as what I did, but the audience is just so much different. And I think
Mm,
maybe that's where I'm making my mistake with the second one is that because the audiences is so different for the two books, I should maybe consider my marketing a little bit differently for the second one. But
yeah.
I'm still figuring it out. It's only like a few months old, so I'm still figuring that one out. So that one was about last year. I entered Cape Town Marathon, and I ran the Cape Town Marathon in October last year, and yeah, and the second book is about my training for that. It's about the entire process of, because I'm a very unlikely marathon runner, right? So, so I approach it from that perspective. What were my challenges and my experiences um, with regards to training for something like running a marathon. So that's what my second book is. It's two different audiences. I mean, the first one is more people who still have the whole weight loss journey ahead of them. And the second one is more for people who feel intimidated by the idea of running a marathon and,
Mhm.
want some of that, or some reassurance that no, it's going to be okay. They can do it. It's possible. If I can do it, surely they can do it as well. So
Well, now that you've built up that first audience, I wonder if there's a way to position the second book that still speaks to those people who have this journey ahead of them, because that is very inspiring. Like somebody who was overweight and out of shape like me is now training for a marathon. That's pretty incredible.
That is, I still need to figure this one out. Okay, I still need to figure this marketing out. But
But let's
yeah,
just
I
keep
feel,
trying things because it's always available. The book, it doesn't have a shelf life. So as you try new things and experiment with how you speak about it, you can see how it does. Do you track your results at all? Do you track like this messaging really resonated? I sold this many books after doing this activity, or is it more just a feeling?
no, I do. I do keep like a spreadsheet of, if someone bought a book from me. It's difficult with Amazon, okay? With Amazon I don't know. But whoever buys directly from me, I try to keep at track of where did they hear from me? Was it just after I posted this, or what was my post just before that sale? So that I can see what sales do well, or well, what posts do well,
Mhm.
and from what platforms. Is it from Instagram or Facebook, or you know and I've been, the media has been incredible. So I've also had experiences. I've had a radio interview, I've had a TV interview, and then
Ooh,
an article in a magazine and an article in a newspaper. So
very
it's
cool.
actually four very different media streams. And to see, I find it very interesting to see how different audiences react to each of those streams. Um,
Ooh.
so it's, yeah, so yeah, the media opportunities have been great. So that also
What have
causes
you
spikes
done?
also.
What have you done to get those media interviews?
I
Did
don't
you
know.
send a pitch, or
the,
did
the
they
one
reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
the it's a little bit of a mixed one.
Both.
When I did my radio interview, that was the first media stream. There was an article about someone else that lost a huge amount of weight, and then I just commented on it.
Mm.
And then they contacted me and wanted to know if they can do an interview. So that was my first one. With my second one, the magazine one, I was just about to release my book, and I thought I'll take a chance. Okay, so I mailed the book editor for the magazine, and I mailed them my details. And next thing I knew, they contacted me and asked me if they can do an interview with me. So that was how the second one came to be. The third one, I've got a friend that works for one of our like how do you call it, TV channels. Okay, and I suggested to her, I really want to do a follow up, something from the media, from the magazine one. And then she put out some feelers, and next thing they contacted me, and then I was on TV,
Yay.
which was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, that one was great. And then the last one, what happened was through the running club. I joined a running club at the end of 2021. Um, and through the running club, somebody noticed me, and then um, there was but she works for the newspaper, and then she contacted somebody there, and the next thing I knew, they called me. So that was the last one. So it's a little bit of mix
That
of
is so
different channels.
interesting. I'm sure you have such a riveting story. So I'm sure when the media outlets hear, they're like, oh, okay, this would be an interesting guest. This would be an interesting story for people. Do you find that you're getting book sales directly from that? Like
Yeah,
after your appearances, book sales go up?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. What was interesting to me with the magazine article, we had the magazine article, then a year later they reshared it
Oh.
on their page. I got more sales from the reshare than I got from the the original article. I found that fascinating. That was I think the busiest 48 hours of my life thus far.
You
So,
said
but
you're actually selling the books through your website so people can purchase from you directly and you're packaging
yes.
them up and mailing them out and all of that.
Yeah, I think having different options help. because I've got
Mm,
the ebooks that's on Amazon for those who prefer, an ebook. Like me, I prefer ebooks, but then I've got the option of buying from the printers directly. So if they want to do that, and they can buy signed copies from me as well, if they prefer to do
nice.
that. Yeah, so I think having options are important. Not everybody wants to contact you.
Hmm.
People prefer to do their own thing. So some people like a signed copy and chatting to me, and I also enjoyed that. I enjoyed when people, when my readers contact me, and then later on they sent me something back about like a little review almost. That helps a lot. Reviews, I try to post them as well onto my page, and that helps. So I enjoy that as well. But not everybody wants to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Having different options definitely is helpful. I always say the offer to contact you is kind of like if you're like a sales lady in the shop and you're just like
Mm.
covering, can I help you? Can I help you? Are you ready? Can
Yes.
I show you something? And like some people love that. Some people are like, that's great service. And other people are like, I just wanted to look.
Yeah, I don't even want to know that you looked at the book. I just want to sort of buy it and read it on my own, and I'll decide. If I
Hmm.
want to contact you or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want you to know. It's like just leave me. I just want to buy and look, and yeah.
Well, so since you're doing a lot of shipping out, you can tell me, are you getting most of your sales locally or are you selling more internationally?
I can only ship locally, so most of the direct sales from me are local, but my Amazon sales are mostly international.
Hmm. I wonder if the title having kilograms in the title, does that affect the American sales?
I don't know. It might.
Yeah, we
I
haven't
try
seen enough
to.
of it.
I try to. Interestingly enough, most of my international sales are from America. So,
Mm,
but
big audience
no,
here.
yeah. So when I wrote the book, I mean, I didn't even consider metric or you know that. Yeah, it wasn't. I only thought about it much later. But
Which
then
makes
when
sense.
I
It's only us Americans being weird. Like the rest of the world all uses it. It all makes sense. And then we're like, but we don't understand. Yeah, I
yeah.
wouldn't expect you to be thinking about that, but I just was curious whether you knew if that had an effect. I don't think that it would because I think I would still purchase it because even if I don't understand exactly how much weight that is, it's still clearly about a significant weight loss, keeping it off, and the emotional aspect of eating, the emotional weight that really resonated with me when you spoke about it that way.
Yeah, because I had someone leave a review at once. They're saying even if you don't have any weight to lose, there's still benefit in reading the book because it talks about healing from trauma, and all those holes, those emotional black holes that I try to stuff with food. You might try to be stuffing with something else, and those black holes still exist, whether you happen to, um, you know, become obese from it, or maybe become addicted to something else, or maybe just scream at your children, your behavior, or there's still something that you need to heal from, and that is what the book is about. So,
That is cool. It makes sense. Do you have any plans to do another book after the marathon one?
I really want to.
You- Are you in
Ah,
this process now?
No, not yet. The inspiration is not there yet, but I would love to write some fiction because
Mm.
both of these have been non-fiction now. So, but I really enjoy writing. I enjoy the process of expressing myself, and yeah, and I would love to try my hand at some fiction. But yeah, then I'm going to sell that one. So
Then you have a whole other audience you got to build.
yeah, I should stop now with this audience building thing because this is
You got to
tricky.
write more books for the same audience. That's where the money's at.
Yeah. What is the process like in America for self-publishing? What is it?
Well, it sounds pretty similar. I've been listening
Okay.
for differences, but I don't know. I think Amazon is pretty streamlined. Amazon is mostly what I use for my books, and it's probably a similar process. I think the only confusion is when it tells you, like, what do you want to price it in different markets around the world? And you're just like,
Yes.
I don't know what a reasonable amount is in all those places.
I must say
But
I don't know either.
it gives you suggestions, so you just pop those in. There's other options, like we have Ingram Spark is a way to do like distribution to bookstores and libraries, but I pretty much have stuck with Amazon for my own stuff.
Do you use KDP do you also do your printed copies? Do
I
you
do, yeah. I use their
Okay.
on-demand service.
Okay. Because the problem we've got here is Amazon doesn't deliver here. So
Oh,
we can't do printed copies here via Amazon. So that was quite a challenge because I needed to find a local printer that would
oh
you know,
wow.
yeah, that would be willing to print here. There was talk at some stage that in Cape Town, Amazon will open, what do you call it? A hub. I don't know what you
Mm.
call it, but that seems to not gonna happen. So yeah, so that's quite a challenge for us because yeah, no printing. Yeah, and then I find that the local print is no. How can I say that? When I just published my first book, I didn't have a local printer. So the only option for South Africans would publish or to purchase an ebook. Then I had one of my readers from the Netherlands. She bought a book, a printed copy over Amazon, and she bought two. And then she was on holiday that January in South Africa. And then she actually contacted me and brought me a printed copy. And that was my first time I could hold a printed copy
Oh,
of my own book. So
oh, well,
yeah, so that was the printing is a bit of a challenge in South Africa, but and I also find the Amazon print is far superior to what we can print here.
oh.
Um, and it's cheaper. It's actually cheaper to print on Amazon than what it is to print here. So that is a bit of a
You can do
struggle.
a
But
lot.
I found someone, and they so far it's. I mean, we're almost 2 years down the line, and so far it's been okay. We've been managing. So
Do you print off like a print run? Do you have a bunch of them that you then
no,
save,
I
or
can
do you
also
do them
print on
small?
demand. I can
Oh,
also,
okay, that's nice.
yeah, yeah. So I order, but I try to order like 60 at a time, so that
Hmm.
at least I have a little bit of stock. Because I've run out before. That that is very scary to run out.
A good problem to have, but yes, you don't
It
want to be
is.
telling people, sorry, it's going to be a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it takes at least 3 or 4 weeks to get new copies.
Mm.
So I try to order a sufficient amount at a time.
The printer that you're using, do they specialize in books or are they more general?
No, they specialize in books.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
yeah. Yeah, once I found someone, that process was quite simple, but it was a problem finding someone that would still allow the self-publication.
Mm.
Because you can't work with the printer directly. You've got to sort of work through someone. And yeah, I wish I could
Yeah,
just,
new system.
yeah, I wish I could just skip that and just print directly, but I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Amazon not being fully available there because, on the one hand, that really sucks. Amazon is so useful. On the other hand, they are taking over the whole world, and pretty soon there'll be no options for buying books except for Amazon. So, oh,
Mm.
it's challenging.
But Amazon is very easy to use though. It's yeah,
Yeah.
it is it's a lovely solution for. I don't think authors realize what a wonderful tool Amazon has placed in their hands, because this wasn't possible. Not so long ago. You know, you wouldn't have been able to just go on Amazon, create a project. Whoops, there's your book.
Mhm.
This is, you would have had to work through a publisher and, um, no, wait to get your book accepted, hope it is accepted. So it's sort of
It's true.
removed.
I was in that world before Amazon came along, before Kindle came along, and I was trying to get my book published. And your options back then were either getting accepted at a traditional publisher or a vanity press, where you pay them a lot of money to make your book available. And they don't do any marketing, they don't do any distribution, they just have it available. So
Yes.
if you do the legwork to ask bookstores to order it, they can, but that's about it.
Mm.
So yeah, like Amazon changed so much and lowered the barrier of entry for authors. And it's so awesome, the amount of control that we have over our own careers now.
Exactly, because there used to be gatekeepers, you
Mhm.
know. Publishers used to be gatekeepers, and now that's, we at least we've got options.
Yeah.
Um, Almost
What
like
is
uh,
like,
different options for buying a book.
yeah, lots of
Everybody wants
options. Lots
options.
of options. So I'm going to ask you one final question. What is the number one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is thinking about maybe self-publishing?
Don't be intimidated by it. I think focus on the writing, and worry about all the technicalities later on. That, yeah, that's what I would say. Don't be so intimidated by the process of self-publishing that you don't get to write in the first place.
Mm, very good. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I believe we have your Amazon listing in the description, but I can put your website as well, so that people can check out those books and see
Oh,
more about
awesome.
you. This has been really cool and so interesting. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.